Hi, I'm Katie Ziskind. I'm the owner of Wisdom Within Counseling and Coaching. My team and I are a group of therapists who love helping distant couples rebuild meaningful connection and emotional intimacy as well as sexual intimacy. You can fall back in love again, you can gain skills to work through conflict, and you can also learn about how inner child wounds and childhood traumas are currently impacting your fight cycle if you're stuck in a high conflict cycle or a cycle of stonewalling and avoidance. So I would love to help you and your partner rebuild meaningful connection and rebuild a sense of security in your marital bond. You can work with me by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. Today's video is about Gottman therapy. So Dr. Julie and John Gottman are amazing researchers in therapy, and they've created this evidence-based model. Now, Gottman therapy looks at a few principles. So we look at love maps. This is how well you know your partner. Like, how do they like their coffee? How do they like their water? How do they like their food prepared? How do they like to spend an afternoon relaxing? Where would they go on vacation if they could take a dream vacation? How does your partner like to parent the children? How do they like to bond? What's the date night look like? So all of these things are called love maps. And when we look at couples, when I see couples that are in distress or who are very disconnected, stuck in a cycle of avoidance and anger, oftentimes couples do not know how to really love their partner, which is a process of rebuilding your partner's love map and your partner understanding your love map. So just like you would put into your Google Maps the place you want to go, a love map is getting to the final destination of a secure attachment bond. And a love map gives you directions each step of the way. So instead of turn right here, turn left at this stoplight, the love map is something that I help you and your partner communicate and create together. Having a strong love map is the first step in building a sound, secure, strong, and meaningful relationship. And a lot of times when I work with long-term couples who have children, who've been together a decade, 2 or 3 decades, work gets in the way of building a strong love map. Chronic illness gets in the way of having a strong, secure attachment. Even co-occurring disorders like alcoholism, addiction, porn addiction, compulsive addictions, bipolar disorder, depression, panic attacks, post-traumatic stress disorder. Mental health conditions can also get in the way of having a strong, secure attachment. And so we start to really build that secure foundation. So one tip I want you to start to do today is have curious conversations with your partner. If whenever you and your spouse talk, it turns into a high conflict fight, it turns into irritation, annoyance, resentment, or yelling, or even one of you deciding to walk off in the middle of the conversation, where then you're just stuck in this silent treatment, I would love to support you and your partner. But if you can show curiosity about your partner and start to learn about their love maps. Take time every single day to get to know your partner, just like you did in the very early stages of dating. In early dating, we prioritize and nurture a new relationship because it's exciting, there's new relationship energy, it's fulfilling, it's a wonderful novelty thing. But 10, 20, 30 years in, it can feel like you and your partner are taking each other for granted, and there may also be a lot of unmet needs that have happened and resentments that have built up in your relationship that are causing disconnection emotionally. So I help you work through those resentments and look at those blockages and start talking about what your needs are, how to help your partner feel like they matter, how to articulate what you need to feel like you matter and that you're appreciated and you're valued, and start to really validate each other emotionally. Now, another really big piece of Gottman therapy is turning towards. Now, this is a skill that we can think about logically and we can learn about it, we can gain education around it, but in the moment is the hardest thing for couples who are high conflict or who are stuck in the silent treatment, who are really avoiding each other or feeling like roommates, to implement. So that's why couples therapy and couples coaching with me is kind of a live, in the moment time where I can step in and pause you both, or I can redirect you both, or I can offer a different way of communicating what you might not realize is coming out is really harsh or critical and is pushing your partner away when you deeply want their love and security the most. So I'm going to talk about the turning towards skill, but I want you to know while listening to this that you really do need a professional expert to help you implement this skill, because when you're triggered, escalated, or past trauma is coming up for you in that fight, flight, freeze state in a fight, your brain goes into like lizard mode. Your medial prefrontal cortex goes offline. We lose the ability to think rationally and think intellectually. So right now you're listening to this intellectually, which is great. But in that moment, that's when I step in, and you can kind of co-regulate off my nervous system and feel calm and safe and start to slow things down with your partner through the process of couples counseling. So turning towards is a really important skill. This means that we have to recognize a bid for affection, a bid for connection. This could be your partner complimenting you. This could be your partner saying, look outside, there's a really cool butterfly. Look at that monarch. And then having you look away from whatever you're doing to look at that butterfly in that moment, being responsive. Within 1 to 2 seconds, you're responding to your partner. This is not, oh yeah, in 10 minutes, I'll look at it. Nope. It's right away. If your partner reaches for your hand, it's saying, oh, I'm so grateful you're holding my hand right now. Versus pulling your hand away or saying, oh, you're too needy, or I'm busy right now. Can't you see that I'm doing something? Right? This is being responsive, attuned. Turning towards is also really important in the midst of a conflict. Turning your hearts to face each other, holding hands lowers blood pressure, lowers heart rate, and turning to face your partner and having eye contact with them and holding space for them, putting your phone down, turning the TV off, putting the magazine away, putting work down, focusing on your partner when they need you. Your partner texts you that they got a flat tire. You need to either respond to them immediately, go to where they are on the street, call them a tow truck, be responsive. Call them, check in, see how they're doing, how are they emotionally. Your partner is sick and has to leave work early. Do they need you to get the medicine from the pharmacy? Do they need you to hire a babysitter for the children if that's their duty or responsibility? Do they need you to handle any of the household chores and just take care of things, or bring them water by their bedside and snacks to their bedside? What do they need, and how can you turn towards and be responsive? What I notice with couples who are very distant and stuck in the silent treatment and stuck in roommate syndrome or stuck in a cycle of emotional disconnection and anger and resentment is that they do not know how to turn towards. And when one person turns towards, the other person is so blocked by past pain, betrayal, hurt, resentment in the relationship and in the marriage from so many years of unmet love needs that they say, well, why should I even turn towards? It's just me giving, and I'm exhausted from giving. Why should I turn towards? And so we have to work through those resentments in couples counseling. So I specifically work with couples that struggle to, open, right? There's good reason as to why. Maybe there's past infidelity. Maybe your partner's had a porn addiction and you felt incredibly self-conscious and unwanted. Maybe there has been some type of betrayal, right? That's really harmed your relationship. Maybe you've also been feeling like you're in a giving role or blamed for all the problems in the relationship, or feeling like at the end of the day you don't have a best friend, but you're stuck and trapped in this marriage and you don't know how to get your partner to care about you. There's so many things that we talk about. So I specialize with couples who are stuck in a cycle of high conflict interactions, or stonewalling and the silent treatment where there's avoidance. And we look at anxious attachment styles, avoidant attachment styles, and complex PTSD. So this means that if you were raised with parents who were really angry, your parents used corporal punishment, your parents were aggressive, they maybe were good sometimes and calm sometimes, but they blamed you, or you felt like you couldn't be your authentic self growing up, or when you did something wrong, you were horribly punished and sent to your room for hours on end, and you had a very intense, unstable parent. Maybe a parent who had narcissistic personality disorder. Childhood wounds play a role in our marriage, and so we talk openly and we nurture those childhood wounds, and I guide you through different techniques and exercises that allow your partner to accept and nurture your inner child wounds and the wounds that we all bring to our married life, and understand each other better and meet each other with compassion and forgiveness, and talk from those deep places of unmet love needs and what those unmet love needs are, instead of just staying stuck in this surface level fight of avoidance and anger and resentment. So we go deep and we talk about the roots of complex PTSD. So I love working with couples that need that extra depth of emotional attunement around complex PTSD and having parents that were narcissistic or emotionally abusive or physically abusive or even sexually abusive. And that plays a big role in creating a secure, loving, meaningful connection in your marriage. So I would love to support you if you are wanting to see if you and your partner have a chance, or if you're considering divorce and wondering if there's a last step for you guys. And if at one point you felt like your partner was your best friend, but now you feel like you're on two different planets, or there's a lot of pain and trauma and resentment built up, I would love to support you guys in shifting from high conflict or stonewalling in the silent treatment, using Gottman principles, using imago therapy, using emotionally focused couples therapy. I'm also trained in somatic yoga therapy for trauma. So kind of guiding you back into your body after trauma has shifted you into a fight, flight, or freeze state, and you're kind of stuck in this fear state from past abuse. I would love to support you and your partner in building a secure attachment. You can book with me. I work on telehealth video, on video sessions, by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. You can also text me. I have a U.S. phone number. That's 1-860-451-9364. That's 1-860-451-9364. But the easiest way is to book right in my availability by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. I'm Katie Ziskind. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in multiple states. I'm a Gottman Level 2 trained therapist. I specialize with couples who have a history of complex trauma from childhood and in their marriage. I also am 500 hours certified in yoga therapy, specifically for PTSD and trauma. And I would love to help you shift from being on the brink of divorce or being stuck in a fight cycle that's very painful and into meaningful connection, authentic vulnerability, and true emotional intimacy that supports a foundation for a beautiful sex life. You can head over to wisdomwithinct.com.